But Mark, let's end the podcast making our picks for the divisional round. And I will say, I mean, you did a lot better wild card round than I did because I only got one right from the wild card round.
Right.
I'm gonna give myself 1.5 though. Because
You can't do that.
No,
There's no
can't,
ties.
because I said I want to pick the Eagles.
Doesn't matter.
But I didn't pick the Eagles, so I'm gonna give myself 1.5 just because.
Then I
need
get
it.
all 4 right.
But like the Seahawks, I didn't expect the Cowboys to win. I probably should have picked the Chargers, but I was really high on the Ravens. I fell in love with them, and then I almost picked the Eagles to win.
I just fell in love with the idea of Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson winning a Super Bowl
Yeah.
as a rookie. But we're going through the divisional round games, talking about them, going to give our picks for them. And we'll start off with the Saturday games. The first one, I know what our buddy Shane O'Mac is going to be listening to what you're picking for this one because the 10-6 Colts are coming into Kansas City to play Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are 5.5-point favorites. Who gets the win in Arrowhead?
You said it wrong. It's the Kansas City one-and-done Chiefs because I'm picking Andrew Luck and the Colts. This team is just looking too damn good.
But to be one and done, they'd have to win.
No, one game and done. Well, that's what one and done is.
No, one and done is you win and then you lose.
No, one and done. The Bears are one and done. One game and you're done.
Okay, I'm going to look it up. But go ahead. You're picking
Ricky,
the Colts.
My team is one and done. I know what fucking one and done means. This guy. But anyways, I'm picking the Colts. And a lot of it's really Frank Reich, Andrew Luck have been going and just turning it on. This team is so hot. And I know that the Chiefs are like almost a perfect offense. There's nothing to dislike about the Chiefs. But there's a certain Andy Reid that likes to fall apart when it comes to the end of a season or the playoffs. And I think that's going to matter. Andrew Luck is back. This team actually has a run game. Andrew Luck can't be sacked ever because this offensive line is so damn amazing. I wish they had a little bit better of a defense. That's going to struggle a little bit. But if anybody can compete with Patrick Mahomes in a shootout, I'm going to put some money on Andrew Luck. The guy can do whatever he wants. This will be my riskiest pick of this round, but I'm going to have to go with Andrew Luck and the Colts.
Yeah, it was a terrible thing to look up on the internet because everything is going to the draft rule where it's one and done. You play a year and then you're done. I always thought one and done was because like college basketball. Oh, if you're one and done,
no, because
you win the first round, you get knocked out.
Because then it's not an insult. One and done's an insult. Your team got in one game and you lost.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
like
the
in
insult.
college, one and done is not an insult. It's you win one and then you lost one.
No, football's an insult.
But I'm going with the Chiefs, and I would love to. This is one that's going to be like the Eagles for me, where I would love to pick the Colts.
You're going to say it every time so you can give yourself half points.
I'm going to pick the
Mr.
Chiefs.
Skip
in this
Bayless
one.
over here.
I thought the Chiefs, I thought this would be the matchup going in. Like the Colts were the only team I got right. I thought the Chiefs would win this matchup when they do go up against each other. It'll be a close one. I'm going to say 27-24 will be the game, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs to get the win at home, although I shouldn't because every time, Andrew Luck is going to throw it, it's going to tip off the defensive lineman's hand. He's going to catch it and run it with his caveman voice into the end zone, just like Mariota did. But I'll go with the Chiefs to get the win over the Colts. Then the NFC game on Saturday, we got the Cowboys, we got the Rams. Rams are a 7-point favorite at home. Do the Cowboys have enough to beat the Rams and get to the NFC Championship game?
I'm honestly tempted to one and done another team in this one and say no to the Rams just because they did it last year.
But instead you'll one and done the Cowboys because they won one and then they're done.
No, that's a two and done, which is not a thing. Ricky, you're ruining this whole podcast. I'm going to have to go with the Rams, though. I mean, I harped on the Cowboys, and they came to impress against the Seahawks. I give them credit for that. They looked a lot better than I thought they would. The Rams, even a slightly hobbled Rams at home, they're just going to be a little bit more than I think the Cowboys can handle. And the Cowboys, Amari Cooper, that Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, they've got everything they need. They've got the good offensive line still, not as amazing as it has been in the past. But the Rams, they just got too much.
Zeke is going to be the crucial part. If Zeke can have a big game and break this Rams defense, they will get the win. But the big thing that I don't like about the Cowboys is against the Seahawks, if you looked at the box score, passing yards, rushing yards, total yards, time of possession, like the Cowboys looked on the stat sheet like they dominated the Seahawks, only won by 2 points.
Yeah.
The Rams are a better team than the Seahawks. The Rams are at home. The Rams should get the win against the Cowboys. And you can call me a Cowboy hater, but I just think that the Rams are going to be well rested. Yeah. They got a bye. They're going to be at home. This will be an easier game for the Rams. I expect this defense to come up and play and stop Dak Prescott, and the Rams will get the win. I'll say like 20. Not that. I'll say like 35-17, where it's not going to be close, and the Rams are just going to run away with this one. Then our Sunday games. I think these are the two most interesting games this week.
I don't know. This is just a great divisional matchup. I think they're all fun.
The first one, they're all fun, but Sundays, if I had to pick two of them, these are the games that I am looking forward to.
And this is coming at you, Ricky, because your birthday's coming up. People, stop having babies that get born in January.
Why?
I want to watch football. And you always have these damn parties that I got to go to, and then I got to do that instead of watching football.
I mean, with me, if I have a baby in January, Mark, I don't care if you we won't even have a party for them.
Multiple cousins in my life that all have January birthdays, and then it's always the divisional round. It's always the divisional round.
I was always smart. You know what I always did for my birthday?
Had everybody come over and watch football.
No, I would wait for the Super Bowl and just have a Super Bowl party for my birthday, because I would wait less than a month, like 3 weeks that it was, and say, well, at the time the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl, so it was like wait the 2 weeks, and then boom, I'll have a Super Bowl party. Have everyone over for the Super Bowl anyways. But Chargers, Patriots, do the Patriots get the win, and are the Chargers going to choke this one away? Because they almost did that against the Ravens, and the Patriots, I believe, are a better team than the Ravens, right? Like, this should be
offensively, yeah.
This is one where the Chargers, like, should you be worried as a Chargers fan because of what you saw last week?
Well, you should be worried because you're
against
the Patriots, because it's the Patriots.
Yeah, but you almost choked against Lamar Jackson, and now you got to go up against Tom Brady.
I think a little bit of that was just the Chargers like, all right, we won. Whatever. Yeah, and then all of a sudden he starts playing again. They're like, huh.
But if you did that,
wait a minute.
If you did that against the Ravens, you can't do that against Tom Brady. But you might not be in that situation.
Yeah, I don't think they would be in that situation. I'm gonna pick the Patriots on this one, even though I really want the Chargers to win it, because from this podcast, anybody who's been listening to it for a long time,
because you picked Chargers Chiefs.
I love the Chargers to go on. I really do. It's one of those times we're in Foxborough, and I am scared a little bit from if it ended 3 quarters, when the Ravens offense had -2 passing yards. If it ended there, Chargers are winning the Super Bowl.
The funniest thing about that game, because you texted like the people booing Lamar Jackson, how those boos magically turned into cheers after he got 2 touchdowns.
Right. But I just thought it was so like, because the whole thing was with the Joe Flacco thing. It's like, you guys are losing this game no matter what.
I can't stand that. Like,
just put him in there?
God,
why
no.
Not?
The whole thing of like, it is not Joe Flacco is done. It is the Lamar Jackson show. It is Lamar Jackson's time.
I agree with that.
What does it help putting Joe Flacco in?
If my whole argument was, if he ends this game with negative passing yards and being booed by the fans, that's the end of his season. All he's going to think about in the offseason is how much everybody hates him, because John Harbaugh had 2... I know, but this was my argument at the time. That's why I texted it. My argument was because John Harbaugh was too damn stubborn to make a switch because of the franchise. Well, you were potentially ruining the franchise. Look at every quarterback for Cleveland who gets their entire career ruined because of the situations they're in.
And the only thing I would come at that with and disagree with it is, even though he had a good fourth quarter and brought them back into the game, I loved Lamar Jackson. Like, if what Lamar Jackson said, if Kirk Cousins said that after the Bears game, I don't think Viking fans are bringing their pitchforks out for Kirk Cousins, where basically Lamar said, it's on me. I have to play better. If I don't play better, we're not going to win games. We're not going to be in this situation. We would be moving on if I played better.
Cody Parkey said basically the same thing, and people still hate him.
Yeah, but he missed 11 kicks this season. Bear fans
hated him before that.
Well, Chicago fans, we're a weird breed because I get it with like the Cubs and stuff. We're a weird breed where it's like once we bring out the pitchforks, it's like
they're out.
You
don't put them back.
We are all for, like, we have a weird rationality where our team could be the non-favorite. We're going to win this series. And then we don't win the series. And it's like, oh, frick. And then we blame someone. Like, the thing that pissed me off is, Cody Parkey, is he the next Steve Bartman? No. Completely different situations,
Very different situation.
Very different. But I'm going to pick the Patriots to win. I'm going to go 28-14 is what I'm going to pick. Might be a little bit low for the Chargers scoring, but I mean, this Patriot team hasn't lost at home. The Chargers almost choked away a game against Lamar Jackson. Tom Brady should be able to do enough to get the win and play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. And then the last one, before we talk Eagles-Saints, I teased it at the beginning. I have to ask you, I know it's not going to be as staunch of a reaction because you've had some time to cool off. Your thoughts on the Cody Parkey miss and the Eagles beating the Bears in the wild card round?
I honestly was okay that same night. This is what happened. I am there watching it. I see it hit the upright. And of course, everybody in the world knew that the Bears were going to lose as soon as Cody Parkey went out there.
And you thought it was going to go. You thought it went in.
I saw it hit the upright and then hit the crossbar, and I'm like, it bounced in. He actually did it. Like hitting the upright. Because honestly, let's be real. That would have been the story of a lifetime. The man hits the upright 5 times this season. Time number 6, it hits it and then goes in. Like, that would have been magical. But no, I mean, I feel bad for the guy because he's got the yips. There's no clearer example of the yips than Cody Parkey because you cannot possibly hit the upright 6 times in a season, and the last time you also hit the crossbar.
Didn't like 4 of them come in one game?
Against the Lions. Yep. Yeah. And they still won that game. I remember texting.
That was the Thanksgiving game, right?
No, that was the other one.
The home
one
game?
Before it. The one where Mitch played.
Oh, okay.
But I remember texting because the Lions guys in that group chat, and I'm like, the Bears better, like, they have to lose this game. You don't hit the upright 4 times and win. It's not allowed. And they did it. But anyways, this is the thing. Even though I said before week 1 that the Bears would make the playoffs, I didn't expect them to be 12-4. I didn't expect them to be the 3rd best defense in the league. I didn't expect them to be so dominant.
You didn't expect Khalil Mack to basically change the Bears.
I didn't expect to have a 6-touchdown game out of Mitchell Trubisky and see all the flashes I need to be convinced that, yes, he's not there yet, but he's going to get there. I saw so many great things happen that I'm happy to where when I look at this team and Cody Parkey misses it, sure, that sucked. But he did make 3 of them, 3 out of the 4. Just happens the last one was in terrible fashion. I'm thrilled that I got to see Mitch Trubisky drive it down. And you said, I think it was you who said, like, this is where goats are made at the end.
Oh, before the last drive.
Yeah.
And I was saying that because you always call Mitch the goat.
Yeah, and he did it. He did everything he needed to do. He put his team there.
I thought the kick was going to get made, and then I was like, shit, Mark's not going to shut up about how Mitch is the GOAT.
And I don't even care that Cody missed in this case because Mitch did everything he needed to do, and that's fine for me. Because honestly, the Bears weren't going to beat the Saints if they had to. It wasn't going to happen.
Here's the thing. Cowboys would have went to the Saints. Maybe the Cowboys could have upset
Cowboys
the
aren't going to beat the Saints either. But
Mark's like, we don't even think they're going to beat the Rams. How do they beat the Saints?
Right? So that looked great. I loved it. Unfortunately, Nagy is a first-year coach, and maybe if he managed the clock a tiny bit differently right before, maybe Mitch has a little bit more time.
He came from Kansas City. You don't expect him to do that.
He did, and I don't blame him because I would have probably.
They don't know what clocks are in Kansas City,
right? Because I would have probably done the same thing of I want to have at least one timeout to stop it for the kickoff or for the field goal. So I don't blame it on that. What I am unfortunate to see is some really dumb defensive penalties on that last drive for the Eagles to score the touchdown. And how did they score the touchdown? Against 10 men. 10 men a few plays after a too many men on the field penalty for the Bears. It just came down to, at the end, the Bears just got a little over their heads, and it just got past them.
You know what it reminded me of? And this is the last thing I'll say before we get into Eagles Saints.
Which is going to be an easy pick.
It reminded me, I know exactly how Bears fans felt after that game. Because you know what game started playing back in my head? Seahawks-Vikings. Same situation. Teddy Bridgewater on that last drive did everything he needed to in that defensive game to put Blair Walsh in the situation to kick that field goal. And he missed it wide left. I believe it was wide left.
Yep. The only things I got to say about Cody Parkey is
he won't be back next year.
You know what? I actually disagree on that to an extent. You're paying him anyways. Bring him back to training camp.
And then just cut him in training camp?
Let him at least try it. Let him at least see. And you know what? And I understand people saying he did well in training camp this year. He did well in the preseason. Sure. But you're paying him anyways.
True. Wow. You guys got him locked. Like, yeah, there's a potential out after next year. But you have him locked up until 2022 is when he becomes a free agent.
Because look at fucking Connor Barth and look at Roberto Aguayo. The Bears are like, no. We're getting this kicker thing figured out. And then they didn't. And the big thing I say with that is, too, people get so mad of like, oh, we all knew he was bad. Yes, we did. But what was the alternative?
He was our guy.
No, it's not even he was our guy. It was what was the alternative? Who were you going to pick up off the street that was going to do better?
But this year you could get Robbie Gould. You can get Robbie Gould, Mark.
And you know what? He lives in Chicago. They are Bears fans. He could potentially come back. And I still will stand by the fact cutting Robbie Gould when we did was the right decision. It just happens that he improved what he needed to improve and went to somewhere else where he was good. Well, life is great.
Now we'll make the pick that we have to make is Eagles and Saints. This, to me, is an interesting game because the Saints, the Super Bowl favorite that everyone is kind of picking, and then on the other side, Big Dick Nick. That's right. Who are you going with?
If the Bears-Eagles game didn't have that last Bears drive, I'd be so tempted to pick the upset. And part of the reason was that Eagles defense was doing amazing. There was zero separation. There's a reason why Mitch Trubisky checked down so much throughout this game because they couldn't do anything. Yeah. The run game wasn't successful. That Eagles defense was looking great. That last drive happens, and I don't know if it's Mitch just doing it himself at the line or if it's Matt Nagy scheming around a corner that's been giving Mitch trouble all game, but they had no problem scheming around him, tricking him, fooling him, and getting Allen Robinson open multiple times. That last drive makes me say, okay, yeah, the Saints are going to win. Because Drew Brees is going to be able to do the same thing. Sean Payton's going to be able to do the same thing. I know that defense is good. They're going to keep it close. This will be a closer game than a lot of people expect, but the Saints are still going to be able to pull it out because the Saints know how to beat any defense that's out there.
So here's what I'm going to say. You ready for this one?
Sure.
The score of the game is going to be 29-24.
Okay.
This is how it's going to end. It's going to be a really close game. The Eagles' defense is going to have the number of Drew Brees, where Drew Brees is going to be good. It's not like Drew Brees is bad, but they're not going to be able to put up as much points as you want. Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara are going to be held in check. It's going to be the wide receivers that are getting it done for the Saints. Big Dick Nick is going to do just enough to keep his team in the game. Alshon Jeffrey is going to go up catching balls like there's no tomorrow. And then what's going to happen? Last play of the game. Nick Foles. He's at the line. Hut. He calls it, throws it up to Alshon in the end zone. Alshon with two hands goes up over two corners, brings it down. And with triple zeros on the clock, the Saints lose 29-24. The Eagles then move on and will be going to LA to play the Rams in the NFC wildcard round. I was originally going to come into this podcast picking the Saints. The reason I cannot pick the Saints in this game is I doubted the Eagles all of last year. They proved me wrong. I doubted if the Bears would have won, I'd be picking the Saints all the way. That's why I was doing it. in our predictions because I had the Bears beating the Eagles. I have doubted the Eagles too much. I have doubted Big Dick Nick too much last year and this year. I can't do it. It's the Alabama rule. Until they lose, I cannot pick against Nick Foles
Alabama
and the
lost
Philadelphia
this
Eagles.
year, though. That's the wrong time to make that
now
example.
I can. Well, I mean, but that's the thing. I couldn't pick against them until they lost. They lost in the last pick of the season. Every other time, I couldn't pick against them because they haven't lost to that point. Now, next year's a new thing of like, oh, maybe I pick against them.
I just feel like saying that you got to pick the Eagles because you shouldn't pick against them. It's not the right time to do it when they just lost.
It's like the Patriots. Usually, you don't pick against the Patriots.
Unless it's the Eagles.
Unless it's the Eagles.
Or the Giants.
Or the Giants. Unless it's an NFC
You know what? I
East
bet
team.
if the Redskins won the Super Bowl, they'd beat them too.
or the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But I am going with the Eagles to get the upset. And my AFC championship is going to be Chiefs-Patriots. And then we'll have Eagles-Rams in the next round. The big thing that everyone's going to say is this should have been the NFC championship game last year. The Eagles are going to show that they are for real and they are going to win this game. You want to know why I picked 29-24, by the way? If you're a Saints fan, you'll get it. That was the score of the Viking-Saints game last year.
Oh, there you go.
So that's another dig for Saints fans. But thank you guys for listening and watching the podcast. Make sure to check us out on patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast to help support the channel. We can't do what we do without the help and support of our patrons. Make sure to check out mostvaluablepodcast.com where you can catch MVP each and every day. And last but not least, make sure to rate and review the Onside Kick on Apple Podcast and iTunes. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Thank you guys for listening on podcast services around the world. For Mark Weber, I'm Ricky Widmer. Have a good day, everybody.